Alright, it says I'm live. If you guys can hear me, please let me know and we will get into it. So just let me know if you can hear me. I'm going to pop out the chat and we'll get this working. So it was a little slow to start this stream, but I think we'll be okay once it gets going. So there's quite a few people in the chat already, although I'm not going to talk too much until you say you guys can hear me. You can hear me, Dan? Awesome. I'm going to let people roll in here. I guess we'll do some roll call. All the people in here. I'll scroll up and see who's in here before. Sean says got like number 7. Lucky, I hope. Hope so, Sean. Hope that works in your favor for the race today. What's up, Dave? Let's get the money, he says. I agree. That'd be a really good idea. Sean says had to do DK Sportsbook on Hamlin to win. Not big money, just $5. Hey, yeah, he's going for 3 in a row. Get the record. And I mean, if I had to bet on anyone to win the race, I would say Denny Hamlin would definitely be the top choice for me. I think he's, what, plus 800 to win, which is actually not the worst odds in the world. Knight says Christopher Bell is the best value, hands down, to win the race without question. Yeah, I think I saw him at, what, plus 3,000? I mean, the guy's got a good car now. I would not be surprised, especially if he gets in the top 5. Let's see. People rolling in. Awesome. What's up, Harold? Good morning. Fantasy Football Dick says good morning. Blaney for the win. Hey, got my Blaney shirt on right now. Girlfriend got me it. I was waiting. She got me this for Christmas. I've been waiting a couple of months now to wear this shirt just for this day. So finally got to pull out the Blaney shirt. Miami's got the mugs. Easy says Logano for the win. I wouldn't mind. I have a little bit of Logano in my lineups today. Let's see what's up. Richard, Paper Chaser's in here. Tyler says this is where I want to be. Awesome. This is where I want you to be too, Tyler. Glad you're in here. Bill says what's up, man? What's up, Bill? Devoted says here because of your latest collab with Sal. Awesome. I'm glad you saw me over on Sal's channel. It was really fun to work with him. Neb says, yo, who wins? Probably Denny Hamlin or Ryan Blaney. Those are my 2 picks to win today. Pat says, yo, what's up, Pat? Gizball says Blaine will get revenge on the Elliott spin out. Hey, good. He could. They're friends. I don't think he's going to wreck him on purpose. Harold says, I kind of think this is going to be a crash fest. Well, I don't think that's a hot take or anything. Daytona is usually an absolute mess. I would not be surprised if we see like half the cars out today at the end of the race. Chris says, sorry I'm late. Just trying to change my Discord name. Yeah, I know you've been trying to change that all morning. I think I still missed a couple of messages. Someone said, let's see. Sean says he thinks he's fading Truex. I mean, the guy has an awful history at Daytona, so I get it. But starting 26, I definitely have a good amount of exposure on Martin Truex just because the price is nice, which I don't really care about pricing too much here at Daytona. But unless he wrecks out early on, he should be a pretty solid play today. So I do have a good chunk of Martin Truex Jr. Let's see. Frankie says, just on your Patreon. Looking forward to the content. Thank you. Awesome, Frankie. I think I saw the email this morning, so I do appreciate your support over on there. Devoted says leaving 1,700 on the table today. I feel great about it. You should. Most of my lineups do not use the full salary. I don't know exactly how many of my lineups actually use the full salary, but I sorted it by least used salary, and I think I had a lineup in the $30,000 range. So yeah, you should definitely feel good about leaving money on the table here at Daytona. I think one of the optimal lineups, I think a few races ago, only used $31,000 of the salary cap. So yeah, you should definitely feel good about leaving salary on the table. Harold says more than usual. Hey, I'd be fine with that. A lot of my drivers are on their back, so I hope they can just move right on up. Jake says, Lil Blaney for the win. I hope so. That'd be awesome to see. I have a decent chunk of Blaney in tournaments. Brady says, thoughts on Reagan? I have a little bit of Reagan, but his starting position isn't exactly the greatest for fantasy. I believe he's, starting 18th. I know he did good here last year. It's just kind of hard to roster him starting 18th. Now, I don't think you should fade him. I have around like anywhere from 5 to 10% David Reagan, so I think that's a good range to be in for him. Let's see. BVB says thoughts on Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is kind of in that group where there's some really good drivers in the 8 to 14 range, but it's hard to like them a ton just because of the nature of Daytona, because they can very, very easily get caught up in the wrecks. But guys in that range, including Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, I believe Kyle Larson, I forget, yeah, he's 8,500, he's starting 13th. That's a really, the problem is they're just starting kind of too far up for me to really like them, but for the most part, I'm around 10 to 20% owned on all those drivers in that range. So nothing crazy, but I think that's a good range to be in, because I do think one of those guys could very easily win this race. Hunter says, just got into Patreon, reading for a big day, living in Florida. I can confirm it's going to be a late race if it's tonight. Awesome, appreciate that, Hunter. I think I just saw the email that you did sign up, so I do appreciate that. And yeah, I was looking at the forecast, and it looks like the rain's supposed to stop at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Now, that's just me looking at the Google weather, so I'm not sure how accurate that is, but I would be down for a night race if they're willing to wait it out. Definitely would like that rather than a Monday afternoon race for sure. Dan says, thoughts on Hamlin ownership percentage? I'm thinking, so looking at the previous slates of how high owned the highest owned guy is. So last year at the Daytona 500, I think Kyle Busch was starting, at the top of my head, I think he was in that 25 to 30 starting range, and I believe he came in around 45, 48% owned. Now, I've been talking up Denny Hamlin all week long on several channels. I'm going to talk it up on Osmo, so I don't know if that's going to bump it up whatsoever, but I think everyone is talking about Denny Hamlin here. I would not be surprised if he touches the 50% range, which kind of sounds crazy, especially at Daytona, but he's starting 25th. The guys won back-to-back races. Everyone's talking him up. I think he could touch 50. Bill says, smash the like button for Chris. I agree with Bill. I think you should smash the like button. It really helps it out. It helps it get into the YouTube algorithm, all that good stuff. Sean says, 2,400 left on one of mine. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Leaving salary on the table is a very, very smart thing here to do at Daytona. It's a good way to get different. And people that are just trying to max out the salary in most of their lineups are probably not going to do that well today. Dave says he likes Reagan and GPP. I think Reagan's a fine GPP guy because he's not going to have much ownership whatsoever because he's right around Alfredo, Gralla. I mean, Cindric's not that far above him, and maybe even Corey LaJoie soaks up some ownership. So I don't think Reagan's going to be that high owned. So if you want to go a little bit overweight on David Reagan, I don't think that's a bad idea. I just want to go crazy on him. James says, thoughts on Penske stacking? So in specific lineups, I'm not just specifically trying to get a bunch of Penske cars in the same lineup, but I love Team Penske here at Super Speedways. I think everyone knows that. That's been watching the videos for quite some time on my channel. I got my Team Penske Ryan Blaney shirt on right now. Love Team Penske. I think they're all good tournament plays, although Keselowski you can make a case for in cash games because of his starting spot of 24th. And obviously, I don't know if we want to count Cindric, but he's still in a Penske car and he's starting nearly dead last. So I don't mind getting all the Penske cars in the same lineup. I think it's doable. So you have Keselowski, Logano, Blaney, Cindric, and you could even throw an MDB in there as well. I know he's on Wood Brothers Racing, but he's kind of like the fourth Penske car for the most part. So yeah, if you want to put all five of those guys in the same lineup, if it fits, I would not be against that. I'm just not sure if that would fit. So I'm trying to think of the salary. But yeah, I like all the Penske cars. Easy says, whoops, sorry, my chat went down. Easy says, is 50% Cindric too much? I don't think it is. I mean, Cindric's pretty much the safest play in the slate outside of Gralla, but I think Cindric has a little bit better finishing position upside than Gralla. So yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. I think Cindric's going to come in anywhere from the high 30s to maybe the mid 40s in ownership today. He's just such a safe play. I'm hoping he's lower though. That'd be great, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Devoted says, still on Jones with him starting at the back because of engine change. Yeah, one thing about Daytona, I don't care who goes to the back. It does not change anything whatsoever for me just because these guys can gain like 20 spots in a single lap, just the way Daytona is. Now, if this was a regular track and let's say Truex was starting on the pole and then he goes to the rear, yeah, that's definitely going to change my ownership. But if a guy starting 31st at Daytona is going to the rear just a couple of spots, it's not going to change anything whatsoever for me because these guys can very easily gain 20 spots in one lap and they can also very easily lose 20 to 30 spots if they happen to fall out of line. So it doesn't concern me whatsoever, anyone that's going to the back. Harold says, I am worried I'm too high on Cindric and Gralla. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say you could be too high on those guys because their floor is super, super high. Now, if they wreck out early, it's definitely going to hurt their upside, but they can very, very easily outscore guys up front that happen to wreck. But I'd say too much Cindric and Gralla might be when you start hitting that 60% range. I think in the 50s, that's fine. Personally, I'm anywhere from that 45 to 55% range, but I think if you start hitting 60, you might have a little bit too much because I do think you should differentiate yourself a little bit more. Adam says, took down a tournament last year with your help. Your breakdowns are a must. Thank you for what you do. Thank you, Adam. Glad to hear that. Hopefully you can take down one this year as well. Miami says a lot of Cindric talk I'm hearing. Yeah, he's just such a super safe play. He's in pretty solid equipment compared to the rest of the guys back there. And Penske tends to run very, very strong. So yeah, Austin Cindric starting 39th. He really can't hurt you too much. It's going to be very hard for him to tank your lineups. Very, very hard. Aaron says, hey Chris, is today's race going to be a crash fest? I'm hoping. That's usually what Daytona is. So I'm assuming we're going to have a crash fest. Now, it might be clean early on, but once we hit stage 3 near the end of the race, that's when things can get a bit squirrely. Because I know a lot of times people get worried about stacking the back those guys because the race is clean for the most part. And then the wrecks start happening at the end of the race because that's when they start really getting racy. Tyler says Brad Keselowski or Chris Buescher already have Hamlin. So I think if you want to go a little bit safer ownership-wise, Keselowski would be your guy because I feel like Keselowski has a better chance of winning over Chris Buescher. But I really like Chris Buescher in tournaments. I think he's one of the best tournament plays on the slate. I know I've already talked about this so many times in many articles I've written this week. But Chris Buescher is a kind of a rock star here at Daytona. Average finish at 12.7, which is only behind Denny Hamlin recently, 3 top 5s and 4 top 10s. He has been much, much better than Brad Keselowski at avoiding the wrecks, which I know is not an exact science of just avoiding wrecks. You have to kind of be in the right place at the right time. But for ownership purposes, I would not hate going Chris Buescher over Keselowski there. I guess it just depends on what the rest of your lineup would look like if you need the lower ownership or not. Morgan says, was way heavy on Cindric and Briscoe. Where could I pivot? Well, I guess you could go Gralla, and then for Briscoe, let's see. Well, let me see what the price is. So, Austin Cindric 6,100. You could pivot to Michael McDowell at 6,300. I think he'll have much, much less ownership than Austin Cindric. And Michael McDowell is kind of like Chris Buescher, where he is very, very good at Daytona. He's been good at avoiding wrecks, and he could always have that sneaky top 5. And starting 17th, I don't think a lot of people are going to go there. Michael McDowell is usually a very popular play at Daytona because he starts in the back. Not the case this time, so I guess a direct pivot from Austin Cindric would be Michael McDowell if you have the money for it. Then obviously guys like Anthony Alfredo, Gralla in the back are obviously good options as well. Then who was the other guy? Chase Briscoe. So Chase Briscoe, he is 6,600 starting 30th. I guess Cole Custer would be a direct pivot. Also Chris Buescher, I kind of already mentioned him. I think he's one of the best tournament plays in the entire slate. Because some of the ownership projections I'm looking at, he's looking pretty low. And if that's the case, I like being way overweight on Chris Buescher because, I think he's definitely got some sneaky top 5 upside here starting 22nd. Dave says, how about Alfredo as a pivot off of Cindric? Yeah, I like Alfredo. Starting 36, he really can't hurt your lineups too much. Also, that car last year was not bad at super speedways with John Hunter Nemechek, so yeah, definitely have a decent amount of Anthony Alfredo today. Sean says Truex or Buescher. I personally have more Truex than I do Buescher, but both are phenomenal plays. But Truex, I will say, he is just not that great at super speedways. He tends to always get caught up in the wrecks, but he's gotten top 10 finishes before, so yeah, I do like Truex starting all the way back in 26. Nick says, are you fading Bowman and Byron? I am fading both those guys. I have 0 Byron, and I might have 1% Bowman, I think, something like that, just in case he leads 100 laps and wins the race, just in case. I want one lineup that's not drawn dead there. But yeah, for the most part, I'm fading those guys. I think first place is averaging negative 21 place differential spots per race, and then second place is pretty close to that as well. And Byron's also going to the back to start the race, so I really don't see the reason to want to play William Byron, because I don't think he's going to lead many laps today, if any. Let's see. Sincere says, heck yeah, we're back. I'll probably go lower on Hamlin if he will be that high. Yeah, I totally get that, because everyone in the field has an equal chance to wrecking. So if you want to go underweight on some of these big name guys, that's definitely a strategy to be had at these tracks to get different. Fantasy says Jones from the back. Yep, Jones will be in the back, and I think he's a pretty darn good play. Very good at super speedways, and also Bubba Wallace in that 43 car has a pretty good track record here at Daytona, so no concerns there. Dustin says, how's this for cash? Brad K, Hamlin, Cindric, Gralla, Reddick, and Chastain. I think that's pretty darn good. You got the 2 back marker guys. Well, not technically back markers, but they're starting in the very back. You got some Denny Hamlin, who I think is a must for cash games. Brad Keselowski might be pushing it a bit, but he's a big name and he has top 5 upsides. So yeah, I don't think that's bad whatsoever. Ken says, if you don't hate your lineup, you're not going to win. Exactly. You got to think your lineup looks really ugly, leave some money on the table, and that's when you know you have a good lineup at a super speedway race. Brian says, morning, Chris. Thanks for all the advice. No problem, Brian. That's what I'm here for. I'm glad you're here. Hunter says, how does Ricky Spinell seem? He isn't starting in the best spot, but he gets away from chalk and is fast at plates. Yeah, I like Ricky Stenhouse. I'm actually planning on being maybe a little bit overweight on Stenhouse today. I think anywhere from that 20 to 30% range is a good spot to be for Stenhouse. It's weird because he's the guy that loves to wreck, but at the super speedways, he tends to run very, very well. Now, he's better at Talladega than he is at Daytona, but the guy should certainly be a contender today. Trey says, good morning. What's up, Trey? Good morning. Dustin says, 3 favorite tourney plays. So I think I wrote in the Awesemo article, my 3 tournament guys were Chris Buescher, Matt DiBenedetto and Ryan Blaney, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I definitely like those 3 guys quite a bit in tournaments because I feel like they're nice pivots off some chalk. Because Ryan Blaney, he's in that, Hamlin, Keselowski, Truex range, and I think he'll be a little bit lower owned. Then MDB is a direct pivot off that Ross Chastain chalk, and also Ricky Stenhouse is right around that range as well. Then Buescher, he's right in between Eric Jones, Tyler Reddick, Custer, Chase Briscoe, Cindric, all those guys. So I'm hoping he gets a little bit lower owned than he should. Oops. Okay, Austin says, who would you use for a one and done where you can't use the pick for the rest of the season? Thinking Bell. Well, is it like how's the scoring in that? Is it like place differential? Because you might as well just use Cindric if that's going to be the case. So, also, update on the new mug. My girlfriend got me this yesterday. It's a Daytona mug, so it's much cooler than what we've had in the past. So I think hopefully it brings us luck today. Greg says, CP, do you correlate teammates while creating lineups ever? I do not, because look, at the end of the race, they don't care about being teammates. They would wreck each other to win the race, so not too concerned about rostering teammates together, to be honest. Tyler Wilson says, thoughts on Reddick Jones stack? I got nothing against that. I'm sure a good amount of my lineups have both those guys in the same, so I think that's definitely a good way to go. Morgan says, thanks, Chris. You're welcome, Morgan. Race day. Yep, happy race day. Glad it's finally here. Robbie says, race will probably start around 5 or 6. I live in St. Augustine, about 45 minutes away from Daytona, and there's a storm supposed to hit around 3. Well, I'd be fine with an evening race. Evening or night race would be good, but I think it's very unlikely we do a run on time, unfortunately. Christy says, best play under $6,000. I would say the absolute best play under that would be Austin Cindric. He's cheap, he's in decent equipment, he's starting 39th. It's going to be very hard for him to fail here, so I would say Austin Cindric. Jason says, who wins? I have Hamlin or Blaney. Those are my 2 picks to win today. I also think Bubba Wallace has a chance as well. He's been showing some speed, and I think it would just be a good storyline if he won as well. Steven says, Blaney or Truex thoughts? I like both quite a bit. I think Blaney is better for tournaments, and Truex is way better for cash games just because of where they're starting, but I like both guys quite a bit. Christy says, Custer or Briscoe? I'd go with Briscoe just because he's starting 3 spots further back. Now, I'm always a little bit wary of starting rookies, especially at these super speedways, but just give me the 3 spots further back for Briscoe. He's in good equipment, too. Donnie Moore says, smash the like button, NASCAR Goons. Appreciate that, Donnie. Thank you very much. Hitting the like button really does help me out, so you should listen to him. Aaron says, where have you decided in Florida to move to? No idea yet. I was talking about that yesterday. There's just so many cities we got to figure it out. We're looking at either the Gulf Coast or the Atlantic. We're trying to figure that out, and then we'll start narrowing in on cities at that point. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's going to be tough to figure that out. There's a lot of cities. Max says, hey Chris, last guy in cash for Buescher, Truex, Reddick, or McLeod. I'll go Truex there. I mean, McLeod's a fine play because he's starting so far back, but I guess I will go Truex because he's starting 26. Plus, he should have some decent ownership, so kind of making it safer there anyway. Dave says, still like the mason jar. Thanks, Dave. And you guys love the mason jar. Max says, most likely to win coming from top 20 outside of Logano, Blaney, and Chase. Outside of those guys, starting inside the top 20. So let me just to make this easier for myself, let me do this by qualifying order. So inside this top 20, besides those guys, yeah, I would not be surprised if Bowman pulled out the win. We know he's super fast. Now, it seems like they had the issue in the dual race fix. So maybe Austin Dillon, Almirola, Bell, Bubba, Harvick, one of those guys. I'm sorry I'm saying a whole bunch of names, but man, I wouldn't be surprised if Bowman won. Now, I'm hoping he doesn't because I barely have any Bowman. But even if he did win, I still think it would be pretty hard for him to make the optimal lineup because it's literally 0 place differential upside. He'd have to lead like 100 laps for that to work out. But I can't really give a great definitive answer there. I'd like to see Bubba win. I think that would be a decent story. It would not surprise me starting 6th. Because he's had plenty of speed. He almost won that second dual race. Xavier says 15 and up, any pick is viable. That's the strategy. Do you mean like up like 15 to 14, 13, 12, or 15 and down? Because if you mean 15 and up, not the greatest strategy for a super speedway. If you mean 15 and down, yeah, that's fine. Andre says, thoughts on Eric Jones for GPP? I think Eric Jones is going to be very high owned, so If you're going to use him in tournaments, you might as well just wait there, but Eric Jones is one of the best plays in the slate. Patrick says, morning everyone, let's show CP some love and hit the like. He's taking time to help us all, so let's help him with likes. Appreciate that, Patrick. Thank you very much. Tyler says, Ross Chastain or Cindric. I like Cindric a little bit better, just because of the floor. Savannah says, Atlantic side for most part a younger crowd. Go Blaney. Oh, well, I might want to avoid that because I know I'm young, but I don't like partying and anything. So if the other side's a little bit calmer, that might sound a little bit better to me. He says, go Blaney as well. I agree. Go Blaney. Brady says, favorite starting in the top 5. I think out of all those guys, I have the most of Eric Almirola. So I guess that would be my favorite in the top 5. Dan says only 73 out of 100 in Chris's DK contest. Time for some of you to get in. It's only $3. I think I have a lot of comments I have to respond to invite people. But yeah, get into the DK contest. If you guys want in my Draftkings contest, it's only $3. We need to fill, what, one fourth of it left? Yeah, we need like 27 more people. Comment your DK username on my most recent preview video. Don't comment it in here because I'm not going to have time to do the same thing at the same time. So just comment your DK username on my most recent video and I'll send you guys an invite. Brian says, thoughts on Larson, GPP low owned. It's just really hard to trust those guys starting that far up. I have a little bit of Kyle Larson. I think anywhere from, I'd say 10 to 15% Kyle Larson is a decent range to be in, maybe like 5 to 15%. It's just starting 13th, there's not a whole lot of upside there. And yeah, he should be pretty low owned. Josh says, would it be too chalky to play Gralla and Cindric together? I mean, it will be chalky, but I definitely think it's a really strong way to go. I mean, they are starting on the back row. They really can't hurt your laps. I would not be too scared about that. I'd rather get different somewhere else in my lineup. Gizball says, where's the DK contest? I have to invite you. It's private because I don't want a whole bunch of people joining. And plus, I can't put links in YouTube because I remember, I think a year or two ago, YouTube was banning fantasy channels that had DK links in their descriptions and comment sections because it was like considered gambling, which I guess it is. So they didn't like that, so I'm not going to risk that. So if you want in, just comment your DK username and I'll send you guys an invite. Devoted says, how risky is Almirola today? Seems like he would be low owned because of starting position. Almirola is very risky. He is a good super speedway driver, but for him to make the optimal lineup, he's going to have to lead laps and pretty much win the race because him finishing first is not going to come even close to a guy like, let's say Truex happens to get in the top 5. He's going to absolutely blow away a guy like Eric Almirola. Now, sometimes these guys starting in the top 5, top 10 slip through the cracks and make the optimal lineup, and Eric Almirola, he could be one of those guys that it works for, but he is a very risky play, so just know that. Sean says, we'll do both. Tyrus Mander is my DK name. Awesome. I'll send you an invite. Just comment that on my video so I can remember, because I'm not going to remember after the video, probably. Let's see. Ian says, just went and added my DK name to your video for the contest. Awesome. I'll invite you guys that did that after this live stream, just so I'm not staring at my phone the whole time. Garrett says, posted on Twitter. I will if I need to. I just wanted to make sure all the YouTube people got in first before just the people that follow me on Twitter and don't check out the YouTube. So I wanted to be fair to you guys. Patrick says, good luck to everyone in the contest. Won't be able to join, but wish everyone the best. Appreciate that, Patrick. I'm sure everyone does as well. Chris says, I need an invite for DK contest. Oh, I thought I sent you the invite yesterday, but if I didn't, I'll send you that again. You can check Discord. Josh says, Patreon GPP exposures final, or will you be editing them? I'm thinking about changing maybe a couple of things, but for the most part, I think we're set. I've been kind of back and forth on my Blaney ownership. I was wondering if I should up that a little bit, just because I feel like I could end up being just even with the field. I wanted to be overweight, but we will see. But I don't think too much is going to change. Gizball just said, I just sent mine to you video from yesterday. That work? You mean you sent it to me? Yeah, from yesterday. Yeah, that will work for sure. I'll make sure I get you in there. Tyler says, DraftKings boosted Hamlin top 3 to plus 333. It's a trap, right? I wouldn't say it's a trap. I mean, the guy, if Hamlin doesn't wreck out of this race, I think it's very likely he finds himself in the top 3 at some point. So if you don't think he's going to wreck, or you just want to take the chance and roll the dice, I mean, that's not a bad bet, I don't think. Terry says, thanks for everything, Chris. No problem, Terry. Thanks for stopping by. Frankie says, do you post a contest link in the Discord? I can do that. I just really didn't think about doing that, but I'll certainly do that for the people that aren't in there yet. Xavier says, DK username at Rowdy1043. Just make sure you comment that on my video so I can remember, because I'm not going to remember after this live stream. I'll try to, though. De Palma says, stay away from the coast. Inland is much better. Why is that? I'm just curious because I have no idea. Gizball says, thanks, man. Always appreciate the content. Thank you, Gizball. Really appreciate you stopping by here. Miami Mike says, Blaney for all the money. I mean, that'd be fine. I have a good amount of Blaney. I've been talking Blaney up this week. He's my favorite driver. I would not mind Blaney winning this race. Sean says, drop my DK name here in the last video. Did I invite you, Sean? Or did you just do it just now? Oh, by the way, guys, after this live stream at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Awesemo YouTube channel, I will be on there live before Lock Show, which is actually brand new this year. I'm going to be with Jason Floyd. He's going to host, and then I'll be there. So if you guys want to go over there in a few hours, you can ask me all the questions you want. Come by, say hi, have a good time. We're going to be live until Lock happens. So that is my plan for the day. Let's see. De Palma says Hurricanes. Oh, okay. I guess that would make sense. Christy says, do you like McDowell? I like McDowell in tournaments, but he is a bit of a riskier play starting 17th, but the guy is pretty good at Daytona, so I don't mind having a decent chunk of McDowell, but I don't think it should be anything too hefty because he carries some risk starting 17th. Jared Brand says, given how Wallace ran in the duel, if he doesn't get caught up in a wreck, should be there, right? Yeah, I totally agree. I think Bubba Wallace is like a sleeper to win this race. I'm not sure you can say it's a sleeper because Bubba Wallace is pretty popular. I think everyone has the same, he's a sleeper win take, but I mean, I would not be surprised if he won the race. You know, that 2311 car definitely has shown some speed this week. DFS Pope said, Chris, we had fun laughing on Discord during the duel races. Can't wait for the conversations today. Yeah, the Discord chat during the races is always a very, very fun time in there. I'm only playing 5 lineups today. What should be my cap percentage for Reddick and Busher? For only playing 5 lineups, I think like 30 to 25 to 40% on those guys is a good range to be in. Sean says he just did it. Awesome. Thank you, Sean. Andre says, can I play Blaney or Hamlin in the same lineup? Yeah, for sure. You can certainly do that. Hamlin's starting far back enough to where you can play Blaney with him. No problem at all. Dan says, while some of you were in his last video leaving your DK handle, make sure to hit the like button on that one as well. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. Dave says, not hearing a lot about Kurt Busch. Could be a good GPP play. You're actually the first person I think that's talked about Kurt Busch all week. That in my live stream, or not. This is the only live stream I've done, but like in my video in the comment section and everything. So yeah, if that's the case, I feel like Kurt Busch will be lower owned. I do have some Kurt Busch. It's nothing too crazy just because I just like some guys starting a little bit further back. But I don't mind Kurt Busch. I think he's kind of one of those guys that can kind of sneak through the cracks of lower ownership that could surprise us as long as he stays clean. Tyler says, congrats on the Awesemo partnership. Only going up from there. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it. Should be a fun time over there. Looking forward to it. I did one show last year in the finale when NASCAR was kind of starting to die out because football was starting. But it was a fun time over there. Miami says, make sure you give out horrible picks on Awesemo. You want me to tell everyone to play Bone and Byron, all their lineups? Just kidding. I won't do that. Alex says, Spinhouse taking it all. Hey, I have a decent amount of Ricky Stenhouse. I always want to call him Spinhouse just normally because you guys always give him nicknames. Ricky Stenhouse. Starting 21st is a good play racer. Price is nice. Yeah, I like him for sure. Garrett says, are you joining Team Awesemo? I'm kind of just like a part-time thing because I want to keep my own platform because, you know, I like having my own thing. Feel freedom, have some freedom there. But yeah, I do a ton of content over there now. I'm going to do the live stream, and then I do articles, and then I'll be doing some stuff for baseball as well. So should be a good time. Trying to contribute as many things as I can to get my name out there. DFS Pope says, I have Kurt. Yeah, Kurt, you have Kurt? I have a little bit of Kurt. Nothing crazy, just a little bit. Ian says, is this a race where we have a lot of salary left on the table, or has DK figured us out? It's definitely going to have some salary on the table. Now, they've gotten a little bit sharper in their pricing, because I remember, I think a couple years ago, I was leaving like $20-some thousand on the table. It's gotten a little bit better. I mean, but I still have a lineup that's in the $30,000 range, so I'm definitely leaving some salary on the table. But I'm not sure you're going to want to leave like $20,000 these days, but I guess you'd have to tell me your lineup to see if it, you know, would work. Pope says he's my sleeper. Kurt Busch you talking about? I do think he's gonna be decently low owned. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about him at all. Sean says, or I'm sorry, Nick says last piece for cash, Kess or Truex. I'm gonna go Truex there just because he's a little bit further back. Kess has been an absolute magnet for Rex recently at Daytona. Like the finishes are absolutely horrendous. I mean, when he actually finishes the race, it's fine, but he's just been a magnet for Rex. But I'm just gonna give the edge there to Truex just because he's starting 2 spots further back. So why not? Sean says there's only a like button for Chris, another button. Garrett says congrats. Thank you, Garrett. Skate says, what if a wreck towards the back happens early and all the front guys are great plays? Well, at some point, those guys up front are probably going to get into carnage. So let's say, like, Grawl is the first guy to wreck. He can still get you, like, a handful of points. And if a guy, let's say Bowman wrecks early on, he finishes 28th. Grawl is still a much, much better play than Bowman, even if he was the first guy that wrecked out, if that makes sense. But it's possible. That's why you don't go all in on those back guys, and you want some ownership up front. It just should. It's the most likely scenarios. The guys in the back are going to be the better plays. So got to hedge yourself a little bit there. James says, how you feel about Corey LaJoie? I usually love Corey LaJoie at Daytona, but the problem is this is the farthest he's been starting at Daytona than I can ever remember. I think, yeah, he's starting 16th. He's usually a guy that likes to ride around a bit and then have a good finish at the end. But starting 16th, though, it makes him a tougher play because he's going to have to, I mean, if he finishes 16th at 5,800, it's fine, but salary's not going to be too much of an issue here. So LaJoie's a guy I have a little bit of ownership on, but he's a pretty risky play, to be honest, starting 16th. If he was starting further back, I would love him, but 16th's tough. Pope says, has anyone failed inspection? I have no idea. You guys are going to have to let me know because I'm on the live stream right now, so if anyone does, let me know. But it wouldn't change anything for me unless someone had to do like a pass-through or something. But even then, I don't think it would matter too much. Brandon says, for cash, Truex or Cindric? I would say Cindric for cash over Truex. Travis says, do you think a cash build like Hamlin, Cindric, Gralla, etc. could still have a high potential in GPP? Yeah, for sure. Definitely think it would. I mean, most of my GPP lineups, I'm in the 1,500 max, 150 max today, and I'm sure a lot of my lineups start with Hamlin, Cindric, and Gralla, to be honest. So I think that's fine. You could just get different elsewhere. Skate Prez, do you think Logano ownership going to stay in the teens? Love him today. I think he's either going to be in the teens or he might be very low 20s. I don't think it's going to get any higher than that starting 9th. I think more people end up playing Blaney over Joey Logano. They're very similar price, so that could keep his ownership down a little bit. So I think it could stay in the upper teens. I don't think it'll be low teens, though. Dude says, hey folks, what's up, Dude? Glad you made it. My wrench guy. MC Sub says, afternoon, Chris. Sorry for being late in the stream. It's fine. I realize I know for some people I started the stream at 7:30, so that was probably awful. I know I didn't get up till 9:30. Let's see. Anyway, he says sorry for being late to the stream. It's afternoon for us, so we have EPL on TV. Who's your winner for the night? No problem. My winner for tonight, I would say it's either going to be Denny Hamlin or Ryan Blaney. Those are like my two guys to win this race, which I know is kind of like the chalk answer, but it's just what I'm thinking. Andre says smash the like button. I agree with Andre. He's a very smart man. Listen to him. Hank says, race day, baby, for sure. Can't wait. I've been waiting for this day since since the season finale. It's been a while. G Fall says, Eric viable this week? He's a little viable, which is I have very small ownership on any of those guys starting near the front. Now, Almirola could lead a lot of laps and win, but even then, it's going to be really hard for him to outscore some of those place differential plays because anything can happen to those guys up front. De Palma says, which team and which manufacturer do you prefer? I'm not really building my lineups just based on manufacturers, but I guess like if I had a manufacturer I really like today, I would say Team Penske. They're all very strong tournament plays in my opinion. Chris Austin says, are you going to post your Osmo MLB article on your Patreon also? I'm not sure what we're doing for Osmo MLB content yet. It might be just shows. I'm not sure though. Tommy says, how do you feel about Custer? I don't mind Custer. The problem is he's right beside Buescher, Briscoe, then Cindric's in that range as well. Then right above him you have Reddick and Jones. So it's hard to like him as much as those guys. But I have not a little bit, I have a decent amount of Cole Custer just because that starting spot at 27th. And I feel like his ownership could be lower just because of the guys he's priced around. Although last year at the Super Speedways, the numbers weren't great for him. Dirty Bird says, what's up, Chris? Good luck. What's up, Dirty? And appreciate it. Thank you. Good luck to you as well. Sean says, well, my GPPs have exact same 3 as core. Must be doing something right. You talking about Hamlin, Cindric, Gralla? I mean, they're going to be very popular today, but they are some of the best plays in the slate. G-Fowl says, thanks for the answer. No problem. I love the content. Got some NHL content going. I'll get some NHL content going. Oh, man, I don't know anything about hockey, so I'm not going to get on here and pretend that I do. just to make a video, so I'm sorry. Won't be doing any hockey content ever, I don't think. Unless someone... Oh, yeah, I'm not even going to... I won't even think about that, so... Skate Perez says Hamlin's going to be the highest owned ownership for good reason, but I think that if you're going to play him, you have to be overweight, and if you're going to be underweight, you might as well fade. It's a decent way of thinking. I'm going to just kind of be like even on the field with Hamlin. Just if he wrecks, whatever. If he does good, whatever. I'm going to have my difference somewhere else. Because he's a very good play, but he could easily get caught up in a wreck. And I guess he'd be due for a wreck. I mean, the guy was phenomenal at the Super Speedways last year, finished inside the top 5 each time, average finish of 2.3, some insanely good numbers. John says, have a great day, Chris. Thanks for all your help. Have a great V-Day with your lady. Hope you both have a good day of wealth and good vibes. Appreciate that, John. Thank you very much. We celebrated yesterday, so we could have NASCAR on the table for today, but it was a good time. Went to dinner. Had a fun time. Thank you. Let's see. Dustin says, Blaney, Matty D, Hamlin, Jones, McDowell, Stenhouse, and a single entry GPP. Yeah, it's a very strong tournament lineup. Now, you don't have the very back guys, but that's what's going to get you a little bit different. So, you don't mind that in tournaments. Kyle says, what's the most money you made in what sport? NASCAR. Last season, I think I won like 4 or 5 of the lug nuts, which were like around $5,000. Now, every time I'd be in the big one, I wouldn't win. Then the next week, I'd go in there, and then I'd win the... So I wish I would have just stayed in the big ones the whole time, because then the prizes would have been much better. But yeah, NASCAR last season, I won the lug nut several times. Nick says, thanks for the show, Chris. Unfortunately, at work chopping shallots in listening. I'm not sure what those are. You can tell me, because I'm kind of interested what those would be. But thank you for stopping by, even though you're at work. Brian says top 3 ownership fades. Whew, that's a tough one. Well, I feel like if the guys that are going to be in the like 8 through 14 range are going to have ownership besides Ryan Blaney, it might be a good idea to be underweight on those guys, because Joey Logano, he's got a big name. He's been a wreck magnet at super speedways. I could see when you go underweight on him or even to the field. Kevin Harvick, he's starting 8th. I feel like just because Kevin Harvick, he was so good last year, everyone knows who Kevin Harvick is. Like, casual fans will play Kevin Harvick because he's starting 8th, and they're going to be looking for those dominator points, which don't matter here at Daytona. If Harvick's going to have some decent ownership, I definitely want to be underweight on him. I'd like to be underweight on Kyle Busch. All those guys starting inside the top 10, I'd really want to be underweight on for the most part, because they usually do pick up some ownership just from casual fans. Dave says you're going to start doing FanDuel content now that you're doing Awesemo. It's pretty much just going to focus on Draftkings. I don't really get into FanDuel too much. I know if you read the article, I did add the FanDuel prices, but I'm not really into FanDuel, to be honest. So don't start asking me FanDuel questions too much. Jeremy says top plays, maybe a couple. Top plays are going to be Cindric and Gralla today. I mean, they're just the safest plays. Skate says Cindric looked great in duels. Wish he was starting more like 25 to 29 to lower his ownership. Yeah, problem is now where he's starting, he's going to be super high owned, but I feel like it's chalk you definitely want to eat. I have no idea what language that is. I am sorry. If someone can read that, you can let me know, or if you can translate it. But I'm sorry, I just have no idea. I wish Google would translate it automatically in here. That'd be cool. Maybe if I click on the button here, it will. Nope. Garrett says, ew, FanDuel. I'm not a big FanDuel fan. Now, I've only played their NASCAR contest maybe once or twice a couple years ago, but I never got into it too much. Shane says, Denny Hamlin 3P because he's the next Michael Jordan in NASCAR at Daytona. They are buddies too. Yeah, for sure, they are buddies. They own a team together, and it wouldn't surprise me if Hamlin won again today. The guy's just been straight money at these super speedways recently. He is definitely on a heater here. Patrick says it means go NASCAR. Are you just guessing, or if you know it, that's cool. Thank you, Patrick, if you really are translating that, or if you're just being funny. Sean says Russian, maybe. Yeah, it looked something like that. Yeah, I have no idea. Andre says glad to be back in the NASCAR streets. Yeah, glad you're here, Andre. Bill says, love your content. Thank you, Bill. Thoughts on Larson today? Larson's a guy that I think anywhere from 10 to 15 ownership is fine. He's just in a tough spot starting 13th. Now, he's right beside Blaney. I assume Blaney's going to have more ownership, so if you're going to pivot off of that a little bit, Larson's fine. It's just a tough spot for sure, starting 13th. Nick says, cross between an onion and garlic. Best way to describe. Oh, okay. I have no idea, but it sounds... I guess that sounds yummy. I'm not a big onion guy, but I do like garlic. Casey says, any rules and lineup builds this week, like no one starting in the back, etc. So my builds this week, from 1 through 12, I have 0 to 2 drivers. From 13 to 24, I have 0 to 3 drivers. And then from 25 through 40, I have 3 to 6 drivers. Those are my builds this week. Sorry, I was reading a Discord chat really quick. Let's see. Sean says, might say Ty Dillon out. Oh, you're talking about the one in the other language? Yeah, I have no idea. Gizball says, any advice on Super Draft? Sorry if you answered already. I've never played on Super Draft, so I don't want to give any advice because I have absolutely no idea whatsoever how to describe how to play Super Draft. I know there's like a multiplier or something like that, but I really don't know. Skate Press says, Kyle Larson is also just as good of a play as the people around him, but get less ownership just because he hasn't been around for a while. I mean, he's a decent play. I don't think he's as good of a play as Blaney, but I mean, I think he's fine. I just don't have too much ownership because of where he's starting. But if he's going to go lower own, I mean, I guess maybe you could be a little overweight on that, but I'm not going too crazy. Dude says he asked, are there any Russians? You might have. My girlfriend Juliana's in here. Wish her the best of luck today. She'll be playing, and she says, let's some money, and I totally agree. Alan says, how many Penske drivers in a GPP is 3 too many? No, I think that's fine. Which ones are you playing? Are you playing... Well, I guess there's only really 3 main Penske cars. I guess if you want to throw an MDB or Cindric, you could, but yeah, I think that's fine. Let's see. Shane says, I think a surprise pick maybe Bubba Wallace. I think I could see Bubba Wallace winning. He's in good equipment. He looked fast in the duels. He was fast in qualifying. It wouldn't surprise me if he won. I mean, that team's got plenty of funding. Their equipment is pretty solid. Yes, there are, Gary. Learn something new every day here. Jake says, thanks for the contest invite. It's such a fun way for all the fans to engage with you. Yeah, I think so too, Jake. That's why I like doing it. Appreciate everyone that wants to join and have fun in there. I think first place gets like over $100, so it's worth a shot for $3. Brandon says, close one. Any thoughts for cash, Briscoe or Reddick? Whew. I guess just because Reddick has more experience in the Cup Series, I'll go with Reddick, but it is very, very close. Very close. I mean, Briscoe has the slightly higher floor because he's starting like one spot further back, but Reddick has more experience. So if you want the experience, I could see going Reddick there. Gary says Google Translate. Keith says the Russians are Logano fans for sure. They could be. Jason says NASCAR and Super Draft sucks. And then Gizball next says it's cool, give it a try. So we have conflicting opinions there. So maybe I'll have to try it out sometime. Sean says, Chris, have a chat with Vetri. He can fill you in on a Super Draft. You might like it. Well, hey, if Super Draft wants to do any like sponsoring or something like that, I'll be more than happy to hear what they have to say. Andre says, Juliana and Chris going to get all the money today? I hope so. That'd be nice. She'll definitely be in our contest today. Phil says, how do we get any contest invites? So my most recent video, don't put it in the live stream chat because I'm not going to see it. Well, I'm going to see it, but I'm not going to remember what it is. My most recent video, it's got Denny Hamlin on the cover. Comment your DK username, and I'm going to be doing that until lock. Or like, I guess till 2, I guess, because I'll be on the live stream for Osimo. Bill says, any idea if Toyota will have an alliance with Ford or Chevrolet today? They've been kept quiet as usual. I'm not really... I mean, at the end of the race, are we really going to... I don't think anyone's going to be friends with anybody, so it's not something I'm going to be overly concerned about or thinking about too much. Kyle says, is your contest filled? Last time I checked, someone told me that we have 25 spots left, so I'm sure that'll get filled within the next couple of hours. So if you want in, you can comment your username, and I'll be happy to invite you as long as there's room. Skate Perez says, Gizball, in a slate like this, you'll want to play someone from the back and captain. Dominator not as important here, and you can get up to 3x on someone like Cindric or Gralla. Listen to Skate. That sounds like a pretty good idea. You don't play there, so I can't give great advice, but this sounds smart. Phil says, hey, Chris, good luck today. Go Chris Buescher and Bubba. Thank you, Phil. Good luck to you as well, and yeah, definitely go Chris Buescher. I have a good amount of Chris Buescher today. Skylar says, what lap is the big one going to happen, and who might be in it? Well, if I knew that, we're all going to buy our own islands tomorrow because we're going to be filthy rich. But I'd assume the big one will more than likely happen in stage 3 near the end of the race. But if it happens early on, even better. But who's going to be in it? I have no idea. It's probably going to be the guys that are going to be near the front. I would not be surprised if that would consist of guys like Keselowski, Elliott, Truex, or maybe not Truex, but Kyle Busch, Harvick, Bowman, Byron. Those are the kind of guys that tend to get caught up, the guys up front being aggressive. Let's see. Julian says, hey, that would be awesome. Sure would. Dave says, not playing any Austin Dillon, so he will probably win. I barely have any Austin Dillon, maybe like a couple percentages, but nothing crazy. Andre says, what contest do you usually play on DK? I either max out the Lugnet or I max out the big contest. Today I'm maxing out the $15, what's it called, the Wheelman, something like that? I don't know, it's the 100 or 200K to first. I got 150 in there, so I'll either be very sad later on, or I'll be happy, or I'll just be even. One of those three. Brandon says, I'll be joining your Patreon, waiting for my new phone to arrive first. My freaking phone got run over by a truck. Well, thank you for joining, Brandon, when you do in the future. And I'm really sorry your phone got ran over by a truck. That sounds awful. Did you drop it on the street or something and a car came by? I'd like to hear more of that story. Justin says, left you my DK. Oops, sorry, chat's going fast now. How many people are in here anyway? I'm going to check. People usually tell me. About 200, pretty solid. Let's see. Justin says, left you my DK username on the Daytona 500 driver-by-driver breakdown video. Exactly what you should have done, Justin. Thank you. I will send you the invite once I get off of here. Finesse God says, Stenhouse of De Benedetto or I assume you mean, or I would say MDB there, just because he's starting a little bit further back. Very good plays, though, but they're very similar plays as well. You can invite me if you want, De Palma 13. I'll try to remember that, but just in case I don't, make sure you comment that on my video. Phil says, Spine Doc. Is that your DK username? If it is, make sure you comment in the video, because I'm probably not going to be able to remember all these in the chat. Oh, I have something from A right here. He sent a donation. Appreciate that very much. Thank you. He says, or she, I'm not sure who or what. I believe NASCAR is a GPP-only sport. Do you agree? I kind of view golf the same way. Way too much variance to waste time on cash games. I see what you're saying. I think at Daytona or Talladega, I think you can have a nice edge in cash games if people don't follow the stack-the-back strategy, because guys like Cindric, Gralla, Chastain, even Anthony Alfredo, Eric Jones, they offer you such a high floor, and if people are going to play the wrong way and play guys like Bowman, Byron, Almirola, all those guys in the same lineup, I think you can have an edge in cash games. But I mostly agree that for NASCAR, because I'm in other sports like MLB, NBA, and NFL, I almost strictly play cash games and single GPPs, but for NASCAR, I tend to just play 150 max contests to just kind of cover my bases, because it's such a variant sport. You can set yourself up for success by having the right build rules and things like that, but I can kind of agree with you that it is a very heavy GPP sport rather than cash games, because, you know, a guy can lose a tire and completely screw your day, and you can't really project that. So yeah, I see what you mean, and thank you very much for the donation. Jason says, yeah, play Growling Captain Spot only sucks because of the amount of contests offered. Yeah, I can't imagine they have like too many contests or anything. Dan still says it has 27 spots open for your DK. Okay, well, I think like we've had like 20 people want in during the live stream, so assuming they join, we're probably going to be running out of spots soon. Last Cowboy says he's going to be back in Daytona. Sure is, Cowboy. Love Daytona. Josh says, playing Eric Jones in cash. I would be. I think Eric Jones is one of the best plays today. Peter says, 80% chance of rain today. Yeah, that sucks. It seems like it always rains for Daytona. Although it looked like later on in the day, it could get a little bit better. A-Town says it is a waste of money. Is it a waste to only play a few lineups in the big tourney? Yeah, it kind of is. Now, you could get lucky and hit the lottery, but more likely than not, you're at a very big disadvantage only throwing a couple lineups in the big tourney. If you only have a couple lineups to play today, I would recommend playing like a 3-entry max contest, because I know the $200,000, $100,000 prize looks really alluring, but the chances of you winning with only a couple lineups is very, very low. So I'd recommend playing like a 3-entry, so you're even with the field, and even if the first place is like 5,000, that's much easy to attain than, you know, in the 150 max if you only have a few. Let's see. Mr. Miyagi. Hey, I'm getting sore here sitting. I don't know if it's the way I'm sitting. I gotta do this for another hour at Frostmo, so I better be careful. Subliminal says, good luck today, Chris. Great stuff as always. Appreciate that, Subliminal. Mr. Miyagi, which drivers are complete fades? I think Bowman, Byron are probably the best fades in the slate. I mean, you could throw in Almirola in there as well, but I mean, I think he could potentially win, but their place difference upside is so low. I have a very hard time seeing them make the optimal today. Let's see. Finesse says Chastain or Stenhouse. For cash, I would say Chastain. In tournament, Stenhouse, I think he's got a much better chance of winning the race. But just like straight up cash games or just overall, I would say Chastain. Skylar says, I want to put Ryan Newman in my lineup, but I'm nervous about Ryan history for being on his roof. Yeah, last year, that was scary. But for the most part, Ryan Newman's a very good super speedway driver. Like, he's one of the best at staying clean and just getting finishes at the end of the race. Last year, obviously, that was an exception. Then I think he wrecked again at one point in the other race, but I think starting 7th and puts him in a tough spot. He could finish inside the top 5, but there's very limited upside there, especially from the guys he's starting around. Like, he's starting around a bunch of guys starting in the 20 and 30 range. Justin says, just joined late, so if this has already been asked, I apologize. It's fine, Justin. How heavy are you on Buescher? I think anywhere being from 20 to 30% Chris Buescher is a good place to be today. Brandon says, watching my sister's dog loading up the car and the dog to go to my 40th birthday party. One thing I forgot in the craziness was that I left my phone on top of the car. Oh, gosh. Hey, it happens. I'm sure I think I left my phone on the back of my truck once, but before I got out of the driveway, I realized it was back there, and I got it. All right, I'm going to go to 11:30, guys, and then I'm going to have to hop off here just so I can get some stuff ready and things like that. But I will answer a few more questions. So if you have any questions, get them out now, and we'll get that going. But anyway. Last Cowboy says, Fords look good in pack and duels. When the Toyota ran together, it seemed like they couldn't punch the bubble of air to keep up. I mean, the Fords usually tend to run very well at the super speedway, especially Penske. James says, we'll be talking about group rules on your Awesome video later. If it comes up, I mean, I'll talk about it, like strategy, something like that. A-Right says, do you think we will get a full race in today? I hope so. I think if they start it late, they will, because it doesn't look like it's supposed to rain overnight. So I'm hoping so. I think it'd be in their best interest to get a full race for the first race of the year. Obi says, good morning, Chris. Good luck today. Thank you, Obi. Appreciate it. Good morning to you as well, although the morning is almost over. Garrett says, good luck, everyone, and thanks for this live stream Q&A. Chris, definitely confidence boost. Good. Glad to hear that, Garrett. Appreciate everyone stopping by. Brian says, Bowman not changing engines will be on the pole. It's like official just now. But yeah, even then, it's just starting first. I hate playing the guy that starts first. Patrick says, what's up, Chris? Kicking off the season today. Let's get it. Awesome, Patrick. Glad you made it. Unfortunately, I think I'm about to be done with the live stream, but thank you for stopping by, coming in. Rodney says, Stenhouse, 2 question marks. If you're asking if I like him, I do like Stenhouse today. I mean, he's got top 5 upside. The guy always has speed at plate races, starting 21st. You got place differential upside. I like him. Ryan Sheehy, I think that's how you say your name. If you had any spots left on the content so far, thanks. Yeah, no problem, Ryan. Thank you very much. Comment on my most recent video, because I'm not going to be able to go back to the live stream and remember all these names. So if you could do that, please, and I'll send you an invite. Jason says, McLeod breaking the slate. I'm sure you would love that, Jason. I'm sure every time I see McLeod, I think of you, every time. Hunter says, can you throw a link to Awesome stream up in Discord or YouTube? I could probably do that right now, maybe. Hold on, let me go on YouTube really quick and see if I can find it. Okay, here it is. Let me see if I can copy paste the link. Looks like there's 6 people waiting in there right now. Okay, I'm gonna press share, copy link, go to my own live stream. Alright, I'm gonna put it in the live chat right now. Did it work? Alright, I put it in there. I think it's on a delay, so I'll see you. It should be in there, though. Okay, I just saw it. So I guess we're on like a 10-second delay. Dave says, got to go. Good luck, everybody. Thank you for stopping by, Dave. I wish you the best of luck today. Skylar says, does Austin Dillon have a good chance at winning the race today, despite it being 20 years since Dale Earnhardt's death? I don't think that really has too much to, I'm not going to factor that in at all, but Austin Dillon's a solid plate racer. He won the dual race, so I think he'll have a strong running, but starting 4th, he's going to have to win the race to be optimal, really. Sean says I'm going to have to make another contest by the time the stream's over. It seems like a lot of people went in, so I'll be more than happy to have them. Little Hard Nuck says, morning, Chris. It's BA to see you collabing with Sal. I love Energy Vetri. Awesome. Glad to hear that. I like Sal, too. I think he's doing a cool thing, having people come on his channel for other sports. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Savage says, thoughts on Rash Chastain and Alfredo? I think those are 2 of the best place differential plays on the slate. I'd say I like Chastain over Alfredo a little bit, but both are excellent plays today. I think Alfredo's going to go a little bit under the radar just because I think everyone's going to be playing Gralla and Cindric, so I'm not sure if they're going to want to load up on Alfredo as well, but I do like him. You're welcome, Hunter. Jason says we need a money hat for NASCAR. A money hat? Gosh, I don't like wearing hats. Although, I guess if I got one, I'd go for it. I'm not really a hat guy, though. I did catch up to the chat, though, so if there's no more questions, serious or silly, I think we can get out of here, and I'll get ready for the Osmo live stream. And I'll see you guys, because we can do this for another hour, so if you guys want to follow me over on the Osmo stream, we'll be there an hour before lock. I'll be with Jason. He'll be the host. I'll be breaking stuff down, answering questions. I think it's going to be more of a Q&A thing. We're going to talk strategy early on, stuff like that, but yeah, it should be a good time. Okay, David says, do you trust either Balicki, Ware, or McLeod for cash or go up to Briscoe? I feel like I'd rather go Briscoe and cash, but I guess the next guy I'd want to use would be McLeod there. Jason says, Spags hat as a killer. I haven't seen it, so you'd have to show me it. David says, how are you, bud? I've missed your face. Let's hope this season. Missed you too, David. Thanks for stopping by. Unfortunately, I think I'm about to end this. Everyone's saying thanks, so but I do appreciate you stopping by. If you want to rewatch it, I'm about to end the video. Now, it might take a couple minutes for it to upload, but it'll definitely be there. You are welcome all. You're welcome, Dude. Bill. Gizball says, as a beer rep, I cannot see that stain with water in it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a water guy. Andre says, thanks, you're welcome, you're welcome. All right, guys, I think we're getting out of here. Everyone's saying their thanks, so I appreciate everyone stopping by for the first official return to the season live stream. I know we did the speed weeks, but those are never anything big. See, wait, Emerson's forehead says, makes sense, you have a truck, Chris, you kind of need one to be an expert in NASCAR. That is true. Gotta have a truck, gotta have the F-150, right? All right, guys. Although it's going to get buried in snow. It's supposed to get like a foot of snow, so I'm not sure I'll be leaving my house anytime soon. Oh, that's fine. Alright, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate everyone stopping by, and I'll see you on the Osmo Live Before Lock NASCAR stream at 2 p.m. Eastern with Jason Floyd and myself. And I wish you guys all the best of luck today if you can't make it to that stream.